Ladies and gentlemen, the live service gaming era is over. I hear many of you already shouting from the rooftops, jubilant, excited. After years, I'll even say a decade, of half-baked projects coming out and disappointing players again and again with false promises, it's over. But in all that time, one shining project did come out, and it is to be commended. It is a game that is unlike any other. And I speak, of course, of Warframe. Welcome back to the channel, Wanderers. I am Vault Zero, and today we're going to be taking a deep dive look at why, in the past decade, after all these live service huge projects came out, crashed and burned, some slower than others, some quicker than others, but in the end, all of them crashed except for Warframe. Why is that? What makes it different, and what makes it so unique and special? We're going to get into it. Warframe was developed by Digital Extremes and launched in 2013. Initially, it faced a really rocky start. Many of us who were following the game since the beginning questioned if it would even survive the journey, if it would even make it this far. But over the years, it's grown into one of the most beloved, if not, I would say so, the most beloved live service game out there. And one of its biggest strengths is, I would say, the community engagement. It is so much fun engaging with Digital Extremes. Rebecca, they're putting on streams all the time. They're taking player feedback seriously. You can really tell that the game and our enjoyment is utmost importance to them. And I think that's huge, and I don't think enough companies nowadays put that at the forefront of their mind when it comes to making these massive projects. And especially if you want to make a live service, that is what you want to prioritize, is the player's enjoyment and communicating with that community, because there will be times where I'm going to use Destiny 2 as an example. Say you change things in the meta, you change the sandbox around, and there may be things that are broken. Players may not be thrilled with the changes you make, and maybe you make a mistake. Maybe you balance weapons too harshly. Maybe you are too reckless with how you balance things. And you need to be able to come out and communicate with your community and apologize and be able to address it swiftly. And I don't feel like enough gaming companies nowadays do that, and it is something that Digital Extremes excels at. Something that used to be big back in the day was gaining players' trust, and I think that got lost somewhere along the way as we got older, as these video game companies got larger, because for these large companies like Bungie, you get it for BioWare, companies like them, they don't have to work very hard to gain your trust, because they've built it up over the last several years with their great titles that they released. The Dragon Age titles, the Mass Effect titles, Halo, Destiny 1, Destiny 2. But the thing I think a lot of these companies don't realize or underestimate is, once you begin to lose that player trust, is just how difficult it is. I would even say near impossible to completely gain back. And with that in mind, I would like to show you guys this clip of some Bungie execs and their meeting and how they look at making games and the parameters they set upon themselves and their company.
Every new release, we are trying to constantly, proactively identify where our teams are overextending themselves. Whether this could be through their own passion, or it could be through feature overscoping. But regardless, we try to actively help each team member to learn this lesson so that they can ultimately get onto that never crunching path. Because you don't want to be on the other path. Because it's hard to tell a team that has extra cycles and they have energy and they want to do something amazing and they know how to do it. And it totally would be amazing and awesome for the game. Sometimes we have to tell them, like, we shouldn't ship this because it's an over delivery that is going to set us up for failure on future trains.
At some point, these massive game studios all adopted this mindset, this diseased mindset that puts profit instead of video game quality and fun at the forefront. This is another way that Warframe absolutely excels where these other games stumble. When you look at Warframe's free-to-play model, it's a key factor with its success. Yeah, there are microtransactions. You could buy platinum, sure, but you never feel forced to. I mean, you can, like I do. I like to grind the isolation vaults because they can generate me a lot of platinum if I get lucky and get really good drops. So even the things like cosmetics, like skins, that are really cool, you don't have to drop your hard-earned money on that. All you have to do is play the game. Now, yes, there are for conveniences, things such as having to wait 3 days for Prime Warframes. No one really wants to do that. I don't want to do that. But again, if you are lucky and you can get some good stuff to drop for you, you can sell it and make some platinum so you don't have to open up your wallet. It's a very good model, and I don't understand why more games don't adopt this philosophy of putting the player's enjoyment and trust first above profit. And then these other titles, Destiny 2, The Division 2, if we do open up our wallets that is so often requested of us, where does the money go? I'll tell you this. Do you know that Destiny 2 has made $2 billion in its life? $2 billion. Ask me how many times their engine has been upgraded. Once. And they run on the Tiger engine, which is severely limited. There are so many features the player base has been begging for years that just don't seem possible on that engine. Consequently, Warframe, the completely free title, averages about making $200 million a year, which is incredible. Don't get me wrong. But ask me how many times they upgrade their engine. Pretty much every major update. Which, by the way, they've launched 38 major updates completely free for the player base. Incredible. You're also going to notice that they're going to release 3 or 4 Prime Warframes, as well as 3 to 4 regular Warframes alongside them throughout the year. You're going to get 8 frames per year. And contrastly, if you look at games like Destiny, I don't mean to just keep picking on Destiny, but they are one of the largest offenders, especially their practice of vaulting content that players have paid for is absolutely egregious and unacceptable. To date, it would cost you all over $200 to be able to access all of the content Destiny 2 has to offer. And that blows my mind because you look at Warframe, you look at the narrative in Warframe, and there's just sheer amount of content, and you think to yourself, man, I don't have to pay a dime. I don't have to open my wallet once to play this. It's a no-brainer, I feel like. And on the flip side of that, you have games like the Division and Division 2, which I absolutely enjoyed playing, loved the heck out of when I played them initially. But over the years, their developers, Ubisoft, refuses to listen to its fans. Its problem isn't monetization so much as it just doesn't have enough content, and Anthem went down the same rabbit hole. These games, they don't listen to their fans, and they don't put enough content in. I used to love the Division 2, used to play the heck out of it, but there's only so many years that I can do the same content for different rewards before I just say, screw it, I'm done with this. And that brings me to my last point. Warframe is a bit of a paradox in the sense that I've often heard so many developers developing games say, we're trying to make this game more inclusive, we're trying to make it more accessible for everyone. And I've heard so many times when you shoot for that, when you try to cater to everyone, what happens is you end up making a game for no one. For years, Destiny has catered to the casual community and completely neglected its PvP and its hardcore community, and it's driven a lot of people away from the game. Warframe is strange because it does try to cater to everyone. It has such a variety of content, from the hack and slash, space shooter, where you're a futuristic soldier on the ground carving up hordes of enemies, to you're in your ship commanding, flying through the asteroids, shooting at giant corporate capital ships, to piloting giant mechs, fighting off the infested on Deimos while you explored lost vaults. Even the paradoxical world of Duviri, where you leave all that behind. You have no abilities. You are just a man with swords. And granted, you have a healing little stem. You have a cloaking field, smoke screen, if you will. But it's a more medieval setting, and it's completely opposite of pretty much anything else you'll play in the base game. Oftentimes, I wonder, how Digital Extremes brainstormer sessions go. It seems like sometimes they just throw things to the wall and see what sticks, because it seems to be pretty random at times. And that's nothing against them. I feel like that's a compliment. It's a good thing. They play to their strengths. It's randomness works for Warframe. Above all else, what is absolutely clear from the way Digital Extremes communicates with us, the game's fans, the community, how they treat the game, how they maintain the game, it's clear that they love the game and they love playing the game. And that's all that really matters. Making a game that you want to play yourself. That's how you make a successful game. That's how you can guarantee yourself success in this field. And it's really exciting and refreshing to see, because it makes me sad to look back at Destiny 2 and Destiny and The Division, because I used to sit around and play those all the time. And I miss them. But at the same time, Warframe gives me hope. It gives me hope that game developers and gaming in general will get back to what matters, the player, and making games that we like playing and they love to make. But thank you guys so much for watching. That's going to do it for me, and I will catch you guys out there in the stars.